going back to teenagers, what do you think's the biggest misconception that older people have of teenagers?
That they don't give a shit. I think if older people just gave teenagers a platform, a space, like, see, when you think about like big global issues like climate change, for example, I mean, it's the teens that have led the way. It's the teens that are stepping up and demonstrating. It's the teens that are stepping up and speaking out and saying, hang on a minute, this is our future, this is our world. I think unless you have put yourself into a space like a secondary school, for example, and actually spent time with teenagers, listening, really hearing what they're saying and what they're passionate about, then it's hard for older people to really get that or understand that. Because I think there comes a time where you start to forget what your teenage years were like, because life takes over. Busyness takes over, work takes over, family responsibilities take over. So I think there's that. I think there's people out there who think teenagers are lazy. There's some of the laziest people I know are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So I think some of them sound like sort of stereotypical things, but actually I think these are right. I think they're accurate, and I think it's important to give them a voice and a platform. And I love the fact that in Scotland, teenagers can vote for certain things, from 16. I think it's really important. So they're hugely passionate, hugely creative. They form brilliant relationships. They've got great ideas. It's funny, I often joke about we kids as well being the same, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. We should be bringing 3, 4, 5-year-olds and 15 and 16-year-olds into the government, get them round the table and ask them their thoughts, ask them their ideas, because I tell you, they'll come up with better ones than some of the folks that are in there at the moment. I think with teenagers, I think they care. I think they really do care, and they're energized by stuff that's important.
I think the worst one for me is the snowflake stereotype.
Yeah,
I don't understand it, because the amount of times I've come in contact with someone that's in their 40s or their 50s, and they're almost behaving like that stereotypical kind of snowflake, that kind of fragile. I think it's more of it's an ego thing that people associate with the snowflake ideas, that people are fragile and they can't take offense. And I just think we can all be like that sometimes. We all kind of let our emotions take over. And yeah. I just think to group teenagers as all snowflakes, just because they're going through this massive change where their emotions and their hormones are not literally exploding in their brains. Of course, there's going to be times where they let their emotions take over. And it's the same with everyone else. We can't really control our emotions. We can't control our thoughts. So we are going to be a bit fragile sometimes. And I just hate that grouping of all young people being snowflakes.
Yeah, I think this is where social media has really fed into this conversation, where you almost can't share an opinion right now without being labeled as weak. Or I think back to my book Life Will See You Now, that came out a couple of years ago. There's a chapter in there called Confidently Lost, where I wrote about my own mental health. A nervous breakdown, and I was so worried about putting that out there because of how I would be labeled and what people would say about me and things like that. And I think we live in a world now where it's almost too easy now to go, oh yeah, you're a snowflake, you're a this, you're a that, I think teenagers have it tough, Gregor. I do. I don't think it's easy being a teenager in the world right now. I think there is a lot for teenagers to be genuinely upset about right now. I think there's a lot for teenagers to be genuinely angry about right now. There's an awful lot in the world that is absolutely damaging the mental well-being of our young people right now. So to brand a generation snowflakes or whatever it might be, it's not okay. We need our teenagers to speak up. We need them to share their thoughts and ideas and feelings. And there's an awful lot of people out there in this world need to be a bit more open to that.
Mm.